Hey, so in this video I'm rebuilding this Raleigh Gemini Trail XC, which I got from Walter at Velow Bike Works in Portobello, and yeah, shout out to him. He had this frame lying around and I said I wanted to build a faster bike, but with a bit of tire clearance, and he was like, I've got just the thing for you. Yeah, so it's a 90s cross bike. I think that's what you call them. I don't know what year. It's got 531 Reynolds 531 tubing, and like it's a lugged construction, which is pretty cool. The paint left a lot to be desired, and I was into it initially. I thought I was going to keep it and build it up kind of like a rat bike, but that quickly changed and I decided to get it powder coated at Henderson's Metal Cleaning here in Edinburgh. So I'm just preparing to take it to the powder coat shop, so I'm just taking off the headset so everything's ready for them. But I realized my headset cup remover was for 1 1/8 steerers, and this has a 1-inch steerer, which was a bit of a bummer. So I tried doing kind of a dirty thing, and I grabbed a screwdriver out my toolbox and had a go at trying to just bash it out with a screwdriver. But I thought that's pretty stupid and I didn't want to wreck the bike. So I decided to load it up on my hard rock just on top of the basket like this and take it to Walter in Portobello so I could chat to him a bit about the powder coat and what I was planning to do with the bike. And that was a really cool day. He was really stoked on the project. He's a super kind dude and really generous with his knowledge, and that's something I've found to be true about a large proportion of the cycling community. Just people are so welcoming and ready to share knowledge and skills with you to bring you up, and that's kind of an amazing thing that everyone's lifting everyone up together. So this was kind of a weird new thing for me. I've never had such a big item of cargo on my basket, but it was pretty fun to ride in the rain all the way through the little bike paths towards the beach, which is what Portobello basically is a long stretch of esplanade with shops on the streets beside it. So that's some of the hills behind Edinburgh. This is me just approaching the beginning of Portobello Beach. It's this is a bike path that's a combined pedestrian path right beside this busy road, which there are plenty of around this city. But it's nice that you get to be separated from the cars. I kind of feel like it was a bit weird that this person didn't just stop at the end of the fence there. I only had a few meters left. But it's fine. I was happy to stop. I'm all for cooperation on the bike paths. So yeah, this weather is pretty typical in Scotland. Just a flat grey sky with a flat grey sea. There's something quite endearing about it, I think. This wasn't that much of a cold day. I think I was wearing shorts. It was a little while ago. It's the start of October. But there's something nostalgic and homely about the grey for me. Maybe I'm just that British or Scottish. I don't know. I really love the sea. I have quite a deep connection to it, I guess. I'm sure lots of people do, but I've been feeling pretty split up from it the last couple of years because I was a surfer for about 10 years. I started when I was like 16, and yeah, my whole life was just surfing for a little while, and then in 2024 I moved inland into the countryside and just stopped surfing completely. And that was kind of a good thing for me, for my mental health and like emotional health, because I was obsessed with surfing to an unhealthy degree where I would get depressed when the sea was flat and there was no waves, and I would not be able to figure out anything else to do with my time. And I surfed a lot while I was at university, and I think it distracted from my coursework in quite a big way. So I've not really been surfing much since 2024, but in that time I found bicycles and found that it's like a much healthier emotional relationship for me. I do feel bad sometimes because I was getting pretty averagely okay at surfing, and so that was a skill I'd worked hard on that I've kind of abandoned now. But I feel happier, and I think that's important. I do believe I'll get on a surfboard again one day soon, but that's kind of what this bike build is about. Is I felt like I was missing sport in my life, because as nice as the Hard Rock is, it's definitely a slow bike and a bit of a cruiser, and I wanted something I could maybe do some sporty rides on and push myself, get some nice sprints and have some drops. So this was my alternative approach to having a road bike, and it's to fill the void in my heart that surfing and not being in the sea every day has left. So since this was gonna be my sporty bike, Walter was actually the perfect guy to kind of bounce ideas off about this build, because he actually has a racing background. I'm not sure if he still races, but he's definitely fast, and he's got some nice carbon bikes and things. But he's also very passionate about vintage bikes, and that's basically what his shop is about, is finding unique and classic vintage, mostly steel bicycles, and finding the right home for them and helping people revive their old classic bikes. And it's cool to know that someone who has both an appreciation for all the new stuff in cycling also has an appreciation for where cycling came from. And I'm kind of growing a reciprocal appreciation, where I got into cycling through enjoying the old ways, and now from volunteering at the bike station and speaking to lots of people, I'm starting to appreciate that some of the new technology might seem weird philosophically to me, like electronic shifting, but it does have its use case, and it's really interesting to learn why people use bikes the way that they do and what they look for in a bicycle. And it's cool that it's so different for so many different people, and you can basically make what you want out of a piece of metal on two wheels that you push around with your legs. It's super cool. So this is me pulling up towards Walter's shop. I don't know if you noticed, like a minute ago I had to turn around because I missed the turning. Still finding my way around this city, but yeah, this is a nice place to come if you're after a cool vintage bike. So kind of jumping ahead here, I didn't film everything, but this is the finished powder coat job hanging up in Henderson's. It's really cool. Basically, they media blasted the whole frame, base coated it, put a metallic finish on it, and then purple, and then clear coat. And what was really cool, he was telling me that the purple only becomes purple when they add the clear coat, and it doesn't appear purple until it has that chemical reaction with the clear coat, which kind of fascinates me as a painter. Almost made me want to do powder coat work as a job. But yeah, I'm really pleased with the finish and super stoked I decided to do it because it's like a brand new bike. I feel like it almost looks like a Rivendell or a Crust, which, yeah, I'm totally frothing about. But Walter sold me the frame for £50, so yeah, a much cheaper head start than either of those bikes. But I'd love to own one of those one day. I'd for sure recommend trying out media blasting and powder coating on an old bike if you're thinking about repainting it, because the finish is super durable and it's a lot less work than stripping paint. You're not exposing yourself to the chemicals. You're not spending hours scrubbing a bike frame for basically a less good finish. So yeah, this cost £100 to get powder coated. I think it's really worth it. So yeah, here I got this pink canty hanger from Crust, and the little like nipple knobby thing was at the back, which I think is standard, but this bike has on the forks the groove for that nip at the front, so I had to file it down to get it to work out, because obviously color matching is important, and there was no way I was going to use the original cable hanger when I had a pink one. It's much more important. Many aspects of this build kind of ran away from me, and it just got more and more extra the more I thought about it. So yeah, what was originally going to be a bit of a lock-up rat bike project turned into making a pretty fancy little number. And I got this dynamo wheel set from another shop in Edinburgh called the Cycle Service, which they just happened to have in stock, so I was like, yeah, give me that. So that's an SP dynamo hub laced up to Halo retro rims, which are 700C polished rim that you can find in the UK. I had this 10-speed 11 to 42 cassette in my parts bin, so that's what I used. I think it's a bit worn. The chain skips every few days, but I'll get round to sorting that out. The other thing is, Walter told me the bike had max clearance for 38mm tires, which is pretty good for a 700C bike from the 90s. But I was looking at it and measured it and thought maybe I would take some of Uncle Ronnie Romance's advice. Since these rims are so narrow, I think they had a 15mm internal, I was going to get 42mm Ultra Dynamicos and hope those tires fit. And they did. It's pretty close. In Scotland we'd say a ball hair of clearance. But it's fine. And I even got fenders on there eventually. So yeah, that's a Nitlo stem and noodle bars. It took me ages to set up the drops. I found it pretty complicated and took a lot of attempts to get comfortable, but I got a lot of help from the bike station. Yeah, shout out Craig, who helped me tape up my bars and showed me how that works, and Ez and Craig as well for showing me dynamo wiring, and then I ended up redoing the whole wiring with George at Dalry Bicycle Depot as well. So there's a lot of aspects of this build I didn't actually film, and I got a ton of help on the parts I wasn't super familiar with. This part of the build was actually filmed in October, and I've just been so obsessed with the bike. It's so fun to ride, and traffic in Edinburgh can be a bit competitive, so to say. So having a faster bike that's quite agile has been a real game changer in my commuting. Just I'm able to race the traffic a little bit more, and the bigger tires are helpful because Edinburgh has a lot of cobble streets and potholes. So this is me setting up my crank set. I had these Sake SA cranks in the parts bin, and I wanted to get more pink on there, so I got this Stridsland crank cap bolt, which I think looks sick, and I always run a little bash guard kind of thing on my cranks just so I don't have to worry about my trousers getting caught in the chain, because I'm a dork. And I grease up my bottom bracket spindles. Everyone always says it's controversial, but I've literally never met anyone who doesn't. And it seems to make sense. For me, anything that's aluminium on steel, I'm gonna grease. So this saddle is pretty cool. I got it at the bike station, which I've mentioned a few times. It's actually a place where you can get loads of used bike parts. It's basically a charity that I volunteer for, where it's kind of similar kind of vibes to a bike co-op. So yeah, this bike is starting to look like a bike. The frame is actually a little bit too big for me. It's not a lot of standover clearance, but it's not for anything crazy, so I think it's going to be okay. I got these velow orange, the Grand Cru Zest canty brakes, which are really pretty. They kind of confused me for a while on how to set up, and it took me a lot of kind of fiddling to understand how they go. I wouldn't say that's a criticism of the product though, but more my lack of knowledge. But they're actually really good brakes. They're pretty darn powerful. I get skids with barely a pull of the lever if I want to, and yeah, they're actually quite intuitive to set up once you figure out which bolt does what. And unlike other canties, it's got separate bolts for the sort of angle adjustment and the toe adjustment. Yeah, cantilever brakes are always a bit fiddly to get dialed in and set up, but things like that definitely help the process. I thought this barrel adjuster was a really handy kind of thing. I didn't use the straddle cable from the packet though on the front, and I realized it would look a bit cleaner if I did, so I did on the back. But yeah, the interface on these brakes makes it there's a lot of options to really dial in how they perform. So this is a Magic Components Dango Bro that had this in the parts bin. Pretty unnecessary, but really cool. So I had this kind of cantilever mounted front rack from Hyacinth, which is a Ukrainian company, and it's stainless steel and it's pretty solid, but it's quite narrow. I had it on my basket on my hard rock for a while, but I just didn't feel like it was a wide enough platform for the basket, but it meant I had the perfect rack to have like a bit of a rando style setup on this bike, and to create a support for the handlebar bag that I wanted to run. I had to basically redo the front straddle cable after putting that on to make sure that the smiley face yoke was sitting above the rack mount bridge there, which I think is kind of handy little extra sneaky safety feature as well, because cantilever brakes, straddle cables can sometimes snap, and that's gonna catch it. So yeah, jumped ahead heaps here. This is the final bike. It's changed quite a bit from where I gave up filming. I went through a lot of cycling before I filmed this as well. But yeah, this is the Dior rear derailleur it's got a 1x10 kind of setup. Some pink cable housing, of course. And this is the rear hub from Halo. It's a really nice hub. It's not too loud as well, which I like. And yeah, it's just amazing. Polished Ultra Dynamico Cava in the rear, 42mm. It fits just. And I used some bar tape as the chainstay protector. And there's the brakes and the smiley face. We've got a little fender in there. And yeah, George at Dalride Bicycle Depot helped me big time setting up these fenders and this rear dynamo light. And there's a sticker. Gotta get a sticker on there. I ended up needing no setback on my seat post, so I got this one from Soma, which is really nice. It's very lightweight. And the saddle is actually surprisingly comfy for something random I found, and will not change it. I love it. I also saw this corner frame bag at George's shop and just thought, oh, that's perfect. That's going to suit the build so well. So I had to pick that up. And yeah, it's pretty handy carrying the bike upstairs and things, and it's reflective. You still see the Raleigh details on the steel as well there, which is nice. So yeah, this is the U light. It's pretty nifty how it sort of attaches to the rack stay there. I love it. I got this bottle for my birthday, the Simworks by Ghost, and the cool purple bottle cage from George. Gold bottle cage bolts, just all the bling 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 on this build. Yeah, this video is basically just a really, really long bike check, and I'm not even sorry. That's a Hope chainring, 38 tooth, and as you can see, I've had to ride this bike a lot in the rain, so some parts are already rusting. This is my DMR pink V6 pedals. I quite like plastic pedals because they hurt less when they slap you in the leg. And I think they're just as grippy if the pegs are good. So this isn't the original decal, but damn, it goes so well with the shiny paint job. And I decided to get a top tube pad to protect my crotch from Tano Works, which is a UK company that you can check out. It was custom made, really decent price. And as you can see, there's a little pump peg in there, so I'll have to get a frame fit pump at some point. So that's my bell. It's a crane bell, one of the painted ones. Thought it was pretty cool. And then this is my stem bag from On the Wing. She just makes bags on Instagram, should check her out. I got the Nito stem. I think it's 60mm. I think I could go down to 50. I think I need to get as much reach back to me as I can. The noodle bars are super comfy with the micro shift bar end shifter, which I actually have indexed at the moment just because I'm not used to the Geo, so it's just I just click and I shift, but it can be friction too, which is super cool. These are Diacomp, Grand Comp, Drillium non-aero levers. I actually kind of hate the feel of cables under my bar tape, so that was kind of non-negotiable for me. That New Bombs padded bar tape is super comfy as well. This is a Fairweather handlebar bag that's like pretty good, fits a lock and everything. That's my headlight, the Busch&Muller IQ XS. Is really nice, and we thought of this smart thing when we were installing it on where we routed the dynamo through the rack stay. I don't think I needed this flexible cable, but it does help a little bit when you're turning and stuff. And my bag doesn't actually sit on the rack, but the tombstone plays a very important role in stopping the bag from hitting against the brake cable there. All very shiny and very pretty. I'm really stoked on how this build turned out, and yeah, even more stoked on how the bike rides. So yeah, here's the dynamo light again. really recommend this light. It's pretty affordable for what it does, and we routed it through the rack stay and then around the forks. So there's the SP dynamo hub, PV8, going good so far. No complaints. My light's pretty bright even when I'm riding at like close to walking speed. So that's the Ultra Dynamico Rose on the front, 42mm. Just the extra tread for going a bit more all-terrain in the winter. So yeah, that's my bike. It goes fast. I like riding it, and it looks cool, which I think makes you 25% faster or push more watts or something. I don't know. Someone can check my Strava and since compare. But yeah, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and maybe I'll make another video at some point. Cheers.